Hey buddy, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal. Okay. Wow, we're doing it here. We are doing it here, and it's a test. It's a test. I'm testing some things out here. I've got a new setup. We've got a new thing going on here. So it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. We are working through the technology, and we're aiming to get better and better all the time. So the good news is I think it's working. Let me get my a LinkedIn going here, make sure that's going. Let's see here. Hopefully that's gonna work. Let's see. So we are working through this. We're doing some different things here. I don't know if I'm framed quite right. So anyway, my wife set it up, and I'm not, listen, whatever, I'm not blaming anyone. You know, sometimes what she wants and what I want are two different things. It's okay. We're talking about a lot of stuff tonight. Okay, we're talking about a lot of different things tonight. First of all, what we're going to talk about is Trump. There's so many different things going on there right now, peeps. There's so many different things going on. We've got Iran, we've got Greenland, we have the economy, we have Bill Ackman, we have Ro Khanna. There's so much stuff happening out there, it's not even funny. I want to talk to you, I want to bring it to you right now. I don't even know exactly where to start. Let me see. Part of this is I'm trying to think about, I'm used to doing this a certain way, and now it's a little bit of a different setup, players. Yeah, I don't think, okay, I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted to do it this way. So that's okay. I'm used to being able to drop in different things, and I should be able to do that. I may be able to do that, but I don't know. It's going to be a little, I could lose the whole stream, players. So I don't want to get too crazy with it right now until I know what I'm doing here. Let's see if I may get a little bolder as we go. Yeah, bear with me. I may get a little bolder as we go on this. One of the things I want to talk about, I really do need to kind of start working off of some slides and some different things like that. You stay with me, players, for a second. Now, I'm going to try something, and we're going to get a little bit. We're going to try some stuff. We're going to make some moves here. Let me see. Okay. All right. Cool. At least I'm not going to get too. Let's see here. We're going to. Yeah. Let's just go with that. That's fine. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to add in some different things here. Let's see. Are we going to? I don't know. I don't know about this. We have a situation. I'm going to keep going with the show, and I'll try to mess with this as we go. We have a situation right now where we may go to Iran, we may not. We've had different statements from President Trump. I want to put it in some different scenes. And you have a lot of American people that are like, we don't want this. 70% of the American people are like, no. Okay? And a Quinnipiac poll is just done. A majority of Republicans are not for it. We've just done that Venezuela situation. There's still ongoing stuff. What's going on with Ukraine? There is progress on the Israel-Gaza situation. That's great. That's good. You know, that's good to see. But a lot of people are like, hey, is this really MAGA? Is this really America First? You know, we've seen the situation. There's a lot of things going on in Minnesota, obviously. There's so much new. Nick Shirley did the big viral video. There's a lot out there, a lot of criticism and discussion on both sides of the incident there. Mandami is mayor in New York City. Different, you know, the people are already talking about 2028. There's a new poll that I saw saying that Rubio's leading into 2028. Do I believe that? No, I don't. And there's great economic news. Inflation is down. Growth is high. There's more investments coming in here. The tariffs look like they're under control. There's more. There's a war. You know, there's more. Excuse me. Let me revise that. there's more back and forth between Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and President Trump. I'm really gonna have to wing this in here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to make this thing work here the way that I want to make it work. I do apologize. It's the first time I'm trying something different on this. I expected it to go one way, and it's not quick enough, and that's okay. And I don't want to get too complicated on it because I just don't know how that would exactly work out. So I do feel like we're at a real crossroads right now. We're at a point where it can go really, really well, or it could go the other way, players. And I think that Trump has to take command of the situation right here. I'll read you some stuff right here, and I apologize. I'm not able to draw. I expected I was going to be able to share a screen a lot easier than I was. It looks like, just based upon, without getting too much into the backstage stuff here, I think I had to set a lot of this stuff up prior to doing this. So, if I mess around with it now, I'm taking a risk, and I'm not willing to risk that. So I'm going to have to read the stuff and go off of it, and then we'll react to it, and I'll tell you kind of where it is, and you can follow along at home. I guess that's the best way to do it. Okay. So, I'm sort of maneuvering myself here because I can't really reach my camera at this point, so that way, I get a little headspace here. So I'm just trying to shrink down a little bit here in the frame. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's go to this. First of all, maybe I'll actually work backwards. And this is on X from Rick's News. Saudi Arabia, quote, Saudi Arabia to open its financial markets to all foreign investors on February 1st, 2026. And there's things out there like, about Pax Britannica and Pax Americana and what's going on, and there's different, and Bill Ackman saying this, Ben Shapiro saying that, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson. There's all kinds of people out there talking and stuff like that. And I'm not here to opine on that necessarily, cast aspersions or anything like that. I'm the one that's been saying that for so long, and that's a decade plus old. So it's nice to see that people are getting that. Listen, everybody listens to everybody. So obviously, I'm influenced by tons of people too, and I'm not accusing anybody, alleging anything. I'm not alleging any facts on the whole thing. I'm sure I'm going to say a lot of things here. If I make any mistakes, I apologize. Not casting aspersions. All of my disclaimers apply. This is very difficult issues and situations, stuff like that. And we're going to try to push through it. And I apologize again with the production level. In some ways, it's definitely up. In other ways, it's a work in progress. We're changing technology here, peeps. We're moving forward. So, the moves that Trump. Let me go to the high level, and then we'll work backwards. And again, apologize. It's not the greatest show, but we're going to get there. We're going to land the plane. It's going to heat up. The main thing you're tuning into here is the analysis. And I think I've been right about so many different things. And with the Trump coalition, I just said this to Raboy, and he's been on fire today, by the way. He's been going back and forth today for a little bit. Mark Carney from Canada just talked about the New World Order over there in China. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in my opinion, players. We're at a point in time where, on the one hand, it looks like almost anything's possible. On the other hand, people have to work together, meaning there is no alternative on the right. The coalition has to stick together. If it doesn't, you're going to get policies that maybe we saw in Minnesota, Gavin Newsom in California, Mandami in New York. It's coming to a theater near you, peeps. So whatever criticism you have of Trump, from any side, on the MAGA, Maha, coalition, the tech bros, the new Republican, whatever coalition, think about the alternative. And in fact, I've been out there early and vociferously. I don't like that word. Let me change that word. Early and, let's say, I was a prognosticator on this and having some great analysis, in my opinion, on the wealth tax proposition. And you're seeing Silicon Valley react very strongly on that. from all ends of the political spectrum players. And I'm like, dude, this is what you get with those leftist policies. This is where we're at with those leftist policies. That's what you're dealing with, players. So if you don't like that, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and get with the program in terms of like, you know, what it really is. You had here a clip from 2008, President Obama at some CNN debate or something like that, and Hillary Clinton's on talking about suing this as the primaries, talking about, quote, Obama slants, this is from Mays, right? Mays Moore, don't have no idea, but this, I just want to give credit to, I don't endorse anything, but I'm just trying to give credit. The citation has 1.3 million impressions. 10 hours ago, 2008, Obama slams the Bush administration for not doing enough to combat the problem of illegal immigration. And I think Joe Rogan just had something out there where he said, listen, it's kind of tough, right? This is a kind of hard issue. It's kind of complex. And meaning that, like, you know, the border was open, 10 million plus came over. And this is kind of emblematic. I'm going to get back to all the other stuff. It all relates together. Players, stay with me. I don't think we're going to go super long tonight, but I just want to kind of, it's been a minute, and I want to kind of get some stuff out there. So it's like, okay, well, if you don't do something about this, then, you know, the Democrats are just going to do it again when they get in power. How tenable is that? A lot of people that were maybe for immigration and more open borders, stuff like that, have seen some of the effects and seen some of the things like, wait a minute, we're not happy with that. Seeing maybe what's going on in Canada, UK, EU, other places here, you know, Trinidad, all the stuff like that. This isn't. We're not happy with that. But then you look at the enforcement stuff, and then like that's Joe Rogan was saying with you know, it's looking a little intense. I'm saying what Joe Rogan's saying, in my opinion, my paraphrase, my personal opinion, recollection. And, you know, I saw people coming in, you know, oh, it's one way and it's the other way. And I, you know, listen, I'm not here to opine, and I'm not, you know, that's what a justice system's for, everything like that. That's why you have, you know, the trials and court system and everything like that. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't comfortable with that. At the same time, like, you know, if you can't interfere with law enforcement like that. Or a federal agency, like you're in a car. I mean, what are we doing? What, this isn't a game, peeps. What are we doing? And but you know, I you know, we don't want to go back to, you know, to 2020 either in terms of you know. You know, again, serve and protect, right? And that's police. This is ICE, a little bit of a different thing. Again, I'm not here to make any pronunciations, but I'm not comfortable, you know, with citizens have to behave and law enforcement has to protect citizens, I guess, right? I mean, so I think, but and listen, and you know, in fairness, and I definitely back the blue and back law enforcement and you know, very strongly. But I think, you know, with strong civil rights, I mean, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution is preeminent, right? So let's start with that. We've seen scenes, whether it's LA or other places, where literally you had these protesters, if you want to call them, I don't know what you mean, that may be too generous, throwing concrete and blocks or rocks or something like that from the freeway down on, you know, traffic. I think ICE traffic. Like it's just crazy. You can't rev the car and stuff like that. Now, you know, I don't get mired in that. You understand where I'm coming from there. I'm kind of where I think Joe Rogan is, Tucker, maybe Glenn Greenwald. I mean, you know, some people say, look, it's a tough situation. That's a tricky situation, and we're like. However, I think a lot of people are going to sort of side with law enforcement in like, look, this is a problem, and we want peace and security and safety in America. But it also gets back to the whole America First thing and everything like that, and maybe what Trump was saying at the Ford plant with Jim Farley, you know, CEO of Ford and everything like that, and some others, where it was like, you know, we need to really, we need to invest in America. We need to make America work for, you know, Americans, we need to. People are expecting results. Is I guess what I'm saying here, folks. People are expecting results. People want to know that they're going to get what they voted for. And as I've sort of implored, if you will, and spoke to some of my connections with in the Valley and Wall Street, some of these higher end folks. And I had, 2 tech billionaires liking some of my posts. Say, not a big deal. I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm like I like to say, I'm nobody, but I know a lot of things. I know a lot of people. I'm on the radar screen a little bit. You have to have this administration having, we need a little less donor influence. Let me say this. I'm not alleging anything. Let me rephrase that. Let me revise and extend that. The administration has to work for the people first. And donors, you gotta take a back seat, players. You gotta take a back seat. I don't care what your issue is. Doesn't matter. Domestic, foreign, whatever. Doesn't matter. You gotta take a back seat. If you don't, then you're going to get this Mandami, Minnesota and other types of stuff. That's where it's going, bro. That's where it's. Look around the world, stuff like that. That's where it's going. In my opinion, that's my fear. But I also think that everyone should be able to, I don't care if you're, whatever your issue is, I think you should be able to voice that, say it, talk about it, and get into it. Now, how does this all relate? We had the action in Venezuela, another situation. Some people are like, yay, they were cheering, and they were like, they were all happy about it. And other people were like, they weren't so happy about it. Okay, and it shook things up. And people are like, well, if we can do that, then what? Now, on this other hand, is it different than the drone strikes Obama did? Is that different than the Noriega edition? Is that different? Whatever. Now, we're also talking about protests in Iran and people dying. Okay, well, what about Mexico? And the drug stuff in Venezuela, what about Mexico? I don't know what the figures are for last year, but I think there was something like 50, not that long ago, I think there was 55,000 people that died, murdered. There's been Americans caught up with some different stuff. There's things that have happened with Americans in some of these vacation, some of these Caribbean islands, stuff like that. But Mexico's, you want to talk about cartels, you want to talk about fentanyl, you want to talk about national security, you want to talk about, Mexico. On my dad's side, my grandparents came over here legally over the border and everything like that. I had all the papers, and it was one of those great American stories. And we're the land of immigrants, right? Well, I want to say we've been here for a long time, whatever. But anyway, I would love to go back to Mexico and tell like, dude, I've been there. It's been a minute since I've been there. But my wife went on vacation. I'm like, maybe we go to Aruba. I would love to go. Look, I mean, there's so much to love, but it's like. But what I'm not advocating for anything. What I'm saying, and then there's been some discussion between Trump and President Sheinbaum. But it's like, okay, if we're going to talk about Iran, we're not talking about. And listen, we want peace, freedom, love, opportunity, and equality for everybody, right? I mean, I want peace, prosperity, and freedom all over the world. I mean, the people of Iran are fantastic. Are you kidding me? I used to be a great wrestler. I used to be a great, for my level, and obviously one of the best in the world in lifting. Iran has amazing lifters. More Olympic lifting than the powerlifting that I've seen. Just amazing Olympic lifters, champions, stuff like that. Amazing wrestlers. Jaburi, if I'm remembering right, Reza, I can't remember the. I'm losing. I don't want to mess the name up. Super heavyweight lifter, stuff like that. I mean, just great lifters. So it would be great. It would be great, right? And the lady that was doing the cigarette thing, I guess she was Canadian. There's some vibes there. I get it. But then Bill Ackman was saying something like, let me pull his thing up. He was like, President Trump will keep his word. This is Bill Ackman, and listen, I like Bill. Bill's cool. I've had some limited communication with him before, stuff like that, and he's got people criticizing him, and he's been cool to me. Now that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm not saying that. He was cool to me, so then it's like, no, but I mean, just saying like, all I can tell you is what my interactions have been, and that's all I can go off of, peeps. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just telling you, you know, for someone that he didn't need to call, didn't need to talk to, you know, whatever. And I'm, you know, I found him to be very cool, smart, reasonable, everything like that. I like the way the dude writes. He writes like me. Maybe I'm biased in that way. Very verbose, very detailed, stuff like that. And I find he's able to just change his mind and stuff like that. He's into sports, into Djokovic. I mean, look at Djokovic. I mean, that's the thing. Like I think he's done tennis with Djokovic. Big fan of Djokovic. Djokovic maybe has some different positions and stuff than Bill. Bill's a big fan. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the point I'm trying to say is he seems like a cool dude, a real dude. He's very involved. Lots of philanthropy out there. He's done well, and then he kind of went, you know, had a little bit of a struggle. Then he's come back up. Now, does he have issues he cares about? Yeah. Passionately, yeah. Is that a big focus for him? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not in the dude's head. So what? That's okay. That's America. This is where I caution people, right? And maybe, you know, this is my perspective and stuff like that. I mean, and again, I don't always want to get, but right, we have things in the news right now. But I mean, you know, again, my perspective, my background, I don't want to have to hit it every single time, but half Hispanic, half English, Irish, you know, big mix and stuff like that. I think both sides of my family ancestors were in the Battle of the Alamo. On my wife's side, you know, roughly half Aramaic, roughly half Jewish and stuff like that, whatever. I've got, you know, family with, you know, from Nazareth, stuff like that, with lands over there. I think I don't know all of it. I may be wrong, and I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anyone else. You know, and you know, I've been there for a long, long time. Where I have olive groves, I have all that type of stuff like that, and I've got, you know, family members in the, or at least one family member, I think, in the IDF. Life's complicated, bro. I love everybody. You know what I mean? Like peace, love, opportunity. That's the other thing too. You know, almost married into a very prominent Jewish family in my opinion here. I haven't given the name yet. At some point I almost did. There was something relevant like that. Cool, respect, was like that. Been around, you know, a lot. My best friend in law school was Jewish. I believe I'm part Jewish, Sephardic Jewish, you know, back then. And so I think a lot of it is, and I ain't talking about this stuff, but I think a lot of things can be true at the same time. I think it's great to be proud of your heritage, religion, whatever it is like that. In America, we have all that, and I know it could be that goes for everybody. You know, Catholic, English, Irish, Jewish, Mexican, Somalian, you know, Iraqi, Afghan. That's America. And that should be we're all humans. I go with what Raven said something and what Oprah was talking with her, and she you know, schooled Oprah on this. Like it's like I consider I'm an American. Well, no, I'm an American. Okay, I don't know about this and that, whatever like that. I know I come from Louisiana, and I think that's a great answer. Now, let me swerve a little bit for a second on that. If you look at this, and I've been posting a lot of it. This speed tour, I Show Speed in Africa, is phenomenal. Phenomenal content. I love it. And it's so for so many angles. And, you know, it's entertainment, but oh my gosh, I mean, Ethiopia, he was pulling a car against, you know, one of Africa's strongest women out there. He lost that. He's been doing some races with, who was... I want to say, was it the dude from Botswana? I can't remember. The super fast dude. I'm going to get the name wrong. I apologize. He's been doing jumping things with the Maasai. He's in Egypt. I mean, it's amazing content. And it's what's great is it's geography, it's cultures, it's city. I mean, and you look at Ethiopia. Oh my gosh, the cities there and Kenya, and like just incredible content. So I mean, I think like you can't. So let me pause that. So I want to get back to I don't want to lose the other point on this. You can't, and I've taken my, well, not rhetorically, obviously. Let me revise it. I criticized Mike Johnson. He was talking about, he had something where he said something about like, and other people have said like, oh, about like if we don't, I don't want to get into specifics. Let me say this. It's totally cool to have whatever religion you have. That's fine, right? Obviously within some realm of, I can think of, I'm sure you can come up with some super extreme examples and stuff like that, whatever, and I don't want to cast aspersions on anything that may be outside of the bounds of normal civil society, whatever, I think at this point in time, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying. But you have to have policy that cannot influence your policy. Right. So in other words, when John F. Let me put it this way: when John F. Kennedy was president, it's one thing to, we believe as Catholics, stuff like that, the head of the church obviously is God, right? And then maybe even Jesus like that. I'm pretty steeped in it as an altar boy, whatever like that, but I'm not like a super expert in it. So let me put that out there. But the physical head here on earth would be the Pope. So John F. Kennedy out there, Catholic, and some people criticize him, were saying it, and I don't want to get into the religion, but I'm just making a point here, was saying, okay, well, I'm president, but I'm going to defer everything. I'm going to go talk to the Pope first. Whatever the Pope says, I'm going to do. No, player, you can't have that. You can't have that as the president of the United States, because you represent everybody. The Jewish folks, the Hindus, atheists, Buddhists, everybody. Episcopalians, and all that type of stuff. So that's the Muslims, obviously, that's the different deal right there. So when you invoke religion in policy, then you get problematic. Like we have to go to Iran because of these religious reasons or whatever. And I'm not saying anyone's saying that or anything else. You see some of the things Mike Huckabee says, like, slow down, player. And whatever you believe personally is totally cool. But as a, representative of the United States, hold on. Do you understand where I'm going with this? So both things can be true. You can have your, and listen, someone like, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Bill Ackman, name the name, right? Right now, Vivek, because he's not in office. If a private citizen can say whatever a private citizen can say and want to. Well, once you are elected, once you're representing everybody, your constituents, locally, nationally, whatever like that, it's a different thing. I think we can all agree on that, right? So it's about respect for everybody, and it's about what's fair from a public policy perspective. Because we don't have a situation, this is what's maybe different in some respects to some other places. There is no official religion or anything like that in the United States. And there is that separation of church and state and everything. Okay, so let's put that aside. And again, if I made a mistake, I apologize. I love and respect everybody and all that type of stuff. And so, we have to figure out. But this is the immigration, all these issues, the left, right. We have to figure out how to live together, the players. We've got to figure that out, and it really shouldn't be hard because the founders put it down there. Alexis de Tocqueville, Max Weber, all these other great philosophers have, and political theorists have talked about. This is why you have these systems and stuff like that, to be able to work these things out. You do you, I'll do me, right? And that, or whatever. And that's the thing. Now, when we talk about what we should do with Venezuela, and some of these other stuff. It's weird because on the one hand, the Monroe Doctrine, the Monroe Doctrine, if you look at Mearsheimer and some others, listen, realistic politics, it comes down to a couple great powers, and, at the end of the day, that's why you don't waste your political and economic capital, blood and treasure, if you will, on things that don't make sense, because you're going to, at some point, it's always, and I was talking about someone, well, I don't want to bring anyone else in this, but I was talking to someone the other day. They're saying, oh, this, that, blah, blah, and this and that, when they're getting into the minutia, and I'm like, listen, bro, this is just Game of Thrones, metaphorically. Everyone's fighting for power, and it's been that way forever. But well, I'm gonna go back to the religion for a second. Because I spent time in I did talk radio and stuff like that in Salt Lake City, right? So that's where LDS Church and Mormons and stuff like that, whatever like that, and great people, knew some people there, met one of the elders, at least one of them, and stuff like that, and spoke at BYU and everything. Anyway, I'm gonna get this wrong, but the Jewish religion, they have the Old Testament. Moses, David, all that type of King Solomon, all that type of stuff. Christians, you have the New Testament, which supersedes the Old Testament. I'm just telling you what as I understand it. I'm not. The LDS Church is 3 books. Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith, that he was in New York, that the angel came down, whatever, and maybe I'm getting it wrong, and whatever. Like I'll let you do your research on your own. I'm not alleging anything. Other religions, think you're going to go to Nirvana. Other religions, Muslim religion says something different. Buddhist religion says something different. And so, some religions you can be reincarnated. Everyone has their own outlook on something. And on the one hand, like, if this is what you believe, then you see the world in a certain way. And I get it. But where, again, it's tricky. Not tricky, but that's why we have these institutions, why there's a separation of church and state, is when you put that in public policy over other folks that believe something different, this is why we have to be very careful players. But I believe in people. I'm an optimist. I think people have this pretty much. Most people have this pretty much figured out. Like when I was in Israel for my wedding and stuff like that. Like, dude, everybody came over. Everybody knows everybody. The Christian folks, and the Jewish folks, and the Muslim folks, and dude, everyone's neighbors, everyone's cool like that. And really, and this is what I would go back. That's why I go back to the Saudi Arabia thing, which is, and the same thing with California, thing with the wealth tax. People are flipping out on. I mean, if they don't watch out, they are on track to. I mean, California used to be the best. They were on track to ruining California quickly. But there's so much I want to say. I'm never going to get this. This is too much show here, and I don't have I can't go to the things here, and I can't in some ways this is much better, but I got to figure out how I'm going to do my presentation stuff if I do it this way, so I can see the strengths and weaknesses of this setup. But that's fine. And thank you for your patience on this, just because I have to set. I want to be. These are tough. We're in the minefield here, so I want to make sure that we're being as precise as possible and as fair as possible. And everything, again, it's all my personal opinion and my best understanding, which is obviously limited. I'm no expert on this stuff, right? I'm not a theologian. But the other thing I would strongly caution, and I said this, because I said this to, I don't know who I was talking to, my wife or something like that. It's like, you have to understand too, going back to the Utah example, there's all kinds of different Catholics, there's all kinds of different Mormons, there's all kinds of different Jewish. I mean, a lot of Jewish people voted for Mandami. Okay, there's people there's Jewish folks that aren't happy with what's going on in Gaza. Dave Smith, you have Blumenthal. There's a lot of them. And who's that? Jeffrey Sachs. There's just tons of them, and I may be getting. But so I just don't. Listen. I don't like the whole group thing. I've never have been comfortable with it. On the other hand, if you believe in certain things, then that's what you believe in, right? So I just think that I think it's a really challenging, if not dangerous place, if you will. Let me revise next in there. I think it's a challenging place to be like, hey, we know what's going on, and listen, this is the religion. This is a different people's religion. This is, my religion's the same way, right? I mean, if you the only way to heaven is believe in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, right? That's the religion. Let me God. So I don't begrudge anybody else their beliefs. But when you come from a standpoint, and we've seen this in the Crusades, from we're right and you're wrong, or we're right and we're going to heaven and you're not, or whatever it is, that can justify a lot of stuff that maybe is not so great. And I would just ask people, is that what God wants? Is that really what God wants? I don't know. I'm not God. But I mean, we all try to get those theological answers for ourselves, right? And but when you put that in public policy, trade stuff, allies, war, peace, it just comes. I mean, it just feels like it just devolves back into the Game of Thrones stuff. We're right, you're wrong. However that is, and people were criticizing this side or that side, and I'm like, a lot of these religions, are different permutations of that. When you go back to Saudi Arabia says, hey, we're open for business. Anyone can invest in here February 1st. Dubai. So where's the capital going to go to? If you have a situation, and we see this in technology, you're either open source or you're closed model. If you're closed model, you're limited growth. And again, I'm not trying to punk anyone out. We're right, you're wrong. We're chosen, you're not. We're going to heaven, you're not. We've got 2 books, you got 1 book, 3 books. All this stuff is stuff. America, Pax Americana, Pax Britannica, whatever. The empires rise, empires fall. I love America. I'm super patriotic. I want to see America do amazing, obviously. Goes back to immigration too. Of course we want immigration. Of course we want the best enterprise. But if you tell everyone, hey, we're going to have a limited immigration, we're going to have a limited H-1Bs, where if you're part of the MAGA crew, don't even apply for a job. The robots and AI are going to all take your jobs like that. You can't expect people to sign up for that. So again, politics is addition, not subtraction. And I've probably said so many things to get myself canceled or in trouble or whatever it is like that. I'm trying to solve some players. I'm saying people have to think, it's the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It's not that hard. We learn all this stuff, right? What was that book? Everything you need to learn in life, learn in kindergarten, something like that. Kind of true. And I'm going to make a small adjustment here. I think it's just a little too bright. There's only so much I can do from this angle here, but I'm just seeing something here, and I think it needs to be a little bit slightly dialed down. Give me a second here, players. Just a little bit of a slight little touch there. Maybe that helps, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I like that better. But anyway, so what's the way out of this? Again, I'm not judging anybody, right? I'm not coming down on one side or the other. I'm saying that I think in various aspects, everyone's been, has their part in this, I guess. But no, Americans don't want to go to war for any kind of religion. Like you saw, Senator Cruz and Lindsey Graham, if you pull the plug on Israel, God's going to pull the plug on you. What are you talking about, dudes? And I mean, war, unfortunately, has been good business. The old Nicolas Cage movie, Lord of War, dude. The military-industrial complex. Eisenhower warned about that. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't, that there's never a reason for an intervention. And I mean, look, again, from a national security, I mean, that's why I think in a lot of ways, Trump has done some very good stuff. And in fact, Keith Boyce said stuff like that, like Trump's had it just about right. On everything from foreign policy. Now, there's a lot of people that are that I've seen on X that are really like, perhaps wanted to get more involved in Iran, maybe some more regime change, or maybe we're cheerleading that, and Trump was like, okay, we're going to do this strike, it's going to be very limited. Limited action in Venezuela, no regime change there. That didn't put in the Nobel Prize winner there. And so, but stepping back, if you have a situation where, and look, I mean, Israel's a great ally. They are a great ally, and it's a great country, and it's booming. I mean, that I was talking about himself, like $1 trillion economy, and there's all these startups over there, startup nation, and they have, my wife did some training at one of the top hospitals in the world, Sheba Tel Shamir. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Obviously, all the holy sites, the history, whatever, it's phenomenal. Egypt's phenomenal, and like you're seeing, the Middle East can really. I mean, again, look at what Speedy showed in Africa. People are like, holy smokes, I didn't know, all these countries, Ethiopia, like, it's amazing. There is global opportunity. And we need to have our hands outstretched to work with people. The fighting is no bueno. That's not good. On the other hand, if you have a situation where people are shipping in drugs, and there's cartels, and there's gangs taking over apartment buildings, stuff like that, or there's aggressive action, or there's an October 7th, or there's an invasion of Kuwait, or something like that, you have to have a response. We're not yet at a time where, unfortunately, like, it's as cool and as calm and peaceful as we'd like it. We need to get there. Because the countries that get there and are open source, open model that want to work with everyone, they're going to win. And people are like, yes, you have to have opportunities and stuff for American citizens first, but you can't have a situation where people are criticizing, like, where you don't want the rest of the world to invest in America? You crazy? You don't want the rest of the world to come over here and if you're going to say you have the world's best university, then you've got to invite the world. You can't have the Olympics with one country competing. That's a national championships player. I've won national championships players. I've won multiple national championships players. I've won best listeners at the national championship. Guess what? I got third place in the world. You know what I mean? That's what it was. And that's okay. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that. But again, when you've got Dubai over there saying, hey, bring the world, let's go. When you've got Saudi Arabia, bring the world, let's go. And if America or Israel or any other country won't do that, then that's going to be a limiting factor. Because as great as you are, you can't beat the world. Not long term. It hasn't worked out that way. So this isn't just about kumbaya, stuff like that, but it's the same thing with business. Apple's done great things, but Apple was, they had their model, and Microsoft has beat them in a lot of ways. In some way, Apple's done some great things too, but I remember going to Game Developers Conference, that's the Apple team, stuff like that, and listen, I was in business in a venture fund with the former CEO of Apple, Gil Amelio. You know, Guy Kawasaki, you know, I know there's a lot of great people at Apple. I have a lot of respect for Apple, but I mean, that's not, you know, you can see it in all kinds of stuff. Game developers, it's the same thing. The open source model is the way to go. You see it in AI, you see it in different things like that. So people really have to think about what their goal is. And what I would say is, you know, whatever religion you have, I think God has to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, it's. I mean, I don't want to get into a theological discussion, but it's like you know. It kind of feels like the whole, you know, Al Gore, the climate change. Oh, in 20 years, well, how'd that work out? Inconvenient truth. Aren't we somewhere in that timeline? It's like people think that they're living in the end times now, or people used to live, you know, have the signs out, stuff like that. The end of the world's coming. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, but like, do you know? How long have people been saying that? Why can't we just live and do our thing? You know, live the best life you live. Whatever you believe in, just do your thing. But I mean, we have to get along with each other here. But again, Game of Thrones. People want power, people want money, people do whatever, you know. But at the same time, like, I think that's where Trump is very smart. Is making economic moves and doing things diplomatically. You know, what's the old saying? You attract more with honey than vinegar and stuff like that. And I think, like, you know, who wants to do business, right? If we're going to do this thing with Greenland, we're not going to invade Greenland. Let's buy Greenland. Let's make a deal. So we did Alaska, like we did Louisiana Purchase. So let's make those kind of moves. If we're in a world where we want to have more of America or more of, I don't want to name a country. I don't want to punk anyone out, but I mean, there's some, you know, a country that's at war right now, or a country that's run by, you know, criminal elements or something like that. You know, I mean, that should be an easy answer. So yeah, I mean, I think that we're at an interesting time right now. There's a lot of the MAGA base is not happy with Trump. You know, what I would caution my friends out there, and again, attacking others and different things, that we're not at a point where Trump can just do whatever he wants politically. I mean, he can't. The president, obviously, we respect the president, but I mean, if J.D. Vance wants to get elected, now some people think Rubio will get elected. I mean, if the Republicans want to win, dude, it could be a blowout for the Democrats in 2026. Make no mistake, and in 2028. So all the little plans and TPUSA, we're going to annoy you. I'm a big Vance fan. I've been a Vance supporter for a long time. But, you know, it's, and I've been saying this for a while. We just finished the first. We just barely finished the first. Well, actually, technically, we're not even up to the first. What is it, the 21st something? We're not up to the first year. We're right around the first year. We've got 4 years of players. People are talking about 2028. Like, what? Like slow the roll, players. And, you know, I think that, look, what do I know, right? But what I would do is, you look at what Saudi Arabia is doing. What I would do if I was over there, let's say you, and again, I'm not alleging anything, whatever like that. Let's say you want a Greater Israel project. Let's say that you want Israel to be number one. Just like we want America. Everybody wants to do better. Everybody wants. The Game of Thrones, right? I mean, everyone. Again, I'm not alleging anything, but it's the same thing. Is it better to do military stuff and maybe that was different. That was a police action. Okay, what? I'm not casting spurs on that, but you know, or the Mexico thing. Or the Canada thing. Oh, they're going to be the 51st team. That's funny. And Mark Carney talking about the New World Order. What is he talking about? We just work it out. Okay, you're gonna tariff us. We're gonna tariff you. Isn't that the better way to do it? Right? Same thing in Greenland. Okay, what if you guys want to join us? You want to buy? What if you figured out a deal where it's like we stop the fighting, and everyone's got to stop fighting, right? I mean, you can't have, you know,
Hamas doing bad stuff and everything like that, but you could disarm and all that type of stuff. Again, I don't want to get into all the specifics, and I'll probably already make like a million mistakes, and I apologize. I'm no expert, I'm doing the best I can. I just think we have to have some sanity from the common people perspective, kind of at least weigh in here, okay? And, huge economy, startup nation, everything like that. What if you let everyone in that mix? What if you gave everyone an opportunity? What if you say, hey, you know what? Gaza, West Bank, whatever like that. Do you want to do your own thing? Do you want to be part of our thing? Do you want to be part of our thing, but also do your own thing? How do we? When people, we see the same thing. My dad was so great in public housing like that. He was like a superstar for housing and urban development, whatever. In my opinion, of course, I'm extremely biased. But you saw it like when people, and he would do some stuff for Jack Kemp, and when it switched over, and they wanted him in Clinton's cabinet under Cisneros and stuff like that, in my opinion. And so, and thankfully he didn't do it because he died shortly after when we had more time with my dad and everything like that. And God, we love you, Pop. When people had ownership of their own thing, dude, they totally took care of it way better. This is common sense, right? If people feel like they have a stake in the game, this is, law and economics, game theory, they act differently. They react differently. Okay? And so, that's something to really consider. So, if we may see Greenland, this is imperfect, we may see Greenland do a deal with America because they would rather be with America than be with Denmark or with the EU or even by themselves. Because who knows what will happen down the road with another country. If they take them over, don't take them over, whatever like that. It's not like they've got some super strong military or whatever. But in other words, America may be way more appealing than what they're currently dealing with. Honey, vinegar. Or you can say, hey, we're going to start doing whatever we're going to do. We're going to take over different places. We're going to do what how's it working out? How's what's going on? How's the status quo working out? Is it working great? I'll leave that up to you, players. Why do you think the people in Iran are out there saying, the people have their own perspective? There's just conspiracy theories these days for everything, and that's part of it. And again, and what did I say before? I don't want to get into that, but so much of what I've been saying is, like, dude, there's a lot of, if you're on the internet, you're content creator, you need clicks, there's a lot of performative stuff, there's some shock jock stuff, there's something, I'll refer back to what I said before. But you look, a lot of people want to do business in Dubai. They opened up stuff with Abraham Accords, and there's Jewish folks over there. One of my family members is doing big business over there and stuff like that. Like, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'll live in Dubai, Saudi Arabia. There's places that are popping off. Singapore is like, dude, the capital and the talent. People are leaving California because of the whole wealth tax stuff like that. The capital and the talent is going to go where they can. Florida has done so great. Why? It's a free state of Florida, bro. And DeSantis, good government, stuff like that, whatever. So, no one's better than anyone else, and no one's worse than anyone else. And you can't have religious stuff coming in any kind of official policy, and everyone's got to be welcome, and you're either open source or closed source. This is not complicated, players. You can believe whatever you want to believe. And we understand the history and why and everything like that, and we understand why it is like. But wherever it doesn't matter. Like whatever when you have. There's like my old bosses say, your strength is your weakness. There's obviously some unique advantages to having a state that's founded on a religious identity, and there's some disadvantages. Saudi Arabia. That is the heart of Mecca. They're recalibrating. MBS is making some different moves. So, what do I know? But if you believe in what you believe and you think you're right, then you should be cool, right? Why not work with everybody else? How does that harm you? That's positive. So is it better to work with everyone else and be open source, or is it better to fight with everybody? Now, if you have to defend yourself, whatever, and, you know, or if another country's doing something to you, or they're shipping in drugs, or they're criminals, okay, I get it. We're not there yet, maybe. But we got to get there fast, players, because the weapons get better and better and better. It's going to get crazy. We need freedom. We don't want 1984 and Game of Thrones forever. We want freedom, cooperation, collaboration. You got to be able to appreciate everyone. I mean, God made all of us. Like, I mean, this is just so basic, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating because it's like, there's just a better way. There's just a better way. I don't want to be preaching here or anything like that. I apologize. I mean, this show swerved a little bit, but the censorship stuff doesn't work. It's never worked. It's never worked. That's why the people ran out there, dude. The censorship, the shutdown, the control, slogans run. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's like, bro, it's not gonna work, bro. It's not gonna work. You know. So anyway, that's what I gotta say about that. I wish I had more production. Yeah, my wife's probably some food. It smells good. But I'm an optimist. I think Trump's hearing it, and what I would share with my friends over there, and I have, is look, you want things to go well. You don't want, you know, we have to do smart policy. The best thing that we can do on the MAGA, Maha, pro-American, I don't want to throw them, you know, however you want to characterize, you know, new tech bro, everything that side. And the economy's doing it. Inflation's down. Inflation's in the twos. We've got work to do, but we're doing it. Inflation's in the twos. Growth is like, what, 4 or 5%, you know, last Q or something like that. I mean, it's great. I mean, tariffs obviously are working. So part of that is a tariff thing with the import-exports out there. That also affects GDP, balance of trade. You know, China's still there, Russia's still there. I mean, it's just like, you know, what are we going to do? We have to wind down these wars and figure out how to work with them. I mean, at the end of the day, are you into destruction or production? Cooperation or exclusion? Freedom or authoritarianism and censorship? That's what it is. People have a right to say whatever. People have a right to be stupid. People have a right to be mean. It's not nice. But, you know, when you shut down someone's speech, then they might come for your speech. You know, and I'm very conservative. I went to a very liberal law school. Interesting time. But it's great school. Well, that's the heart of free speech. They believe it's free speech. I respect that. You know, and so, look, I think we're getting there, and I think that they pumped the brakes a little bit because, again, the polling wasn't there. And why should it be there? I even said it to Bill Ackman. I'm not trying to be a you know, peanut gallery gadfly to him. They didn't do was cool to me and whatever like that, and whatever. But I mean, it's just a simple question. Didn't get a response, and that's fine. It's fine. I wasn't, you know, holding my breath, something like that. But it was very simple. It was like, dude, you know, I'm like, oh, Trump's going to do this. I'm like, okay, well, what exactly are you proposing? What are you proposing, bro? Yeah, I can see this. In some ways, I like this a lot, but I'm just looking at this right now. I need to adjust some settings. It's a little too overcooked. It's a little too bright, but we're close. We're getting there. I think I know why. I'm like, yeah, what are you proposing exactly? Given the proposed action and given that proposed action cost, what is the direct benefit to the average American? We can't just police the world, players. We can't. And people just don't want. I mean, we are broke, and so it's okay to go spend that money. But then you're going to tell, the average American person, I'm not saying him, I'm just saying other people, like, oh, we can't. We need a wealth tax because we don't have enough money. We don't have enough money for healthcare for everyone. Oh, we need it. These people that took student loans that now can't even get a job to pay for them back. You got to pay them all back. You know what I mean? Like why can we spend all this money on all this stuff? If these things are important in other countries, where are they? Are they showing up? Are they putting their troops on the ground? Are they putting their planes? Maybe they are. I don't know. It's like, come on. Who helped us in Venezuela? Who's going to help us if we do something in Mexico? No. Listen, I think the discussion's ongoing, and I think it's a good one. And I think we're going to get there. And I appreciate everybody. Ackman, Raboy, JT Lonsdale, Trump, all of them. Let's do it. But I'll leave you with this. When was this? I don't know when this was. It's recent. Oh, sorry. January 14, 2026. Headline: 7 to 10 voters do not want the U.S. to take military action against Iran for killing the protesters. 70% say that the president should seek congressional approval before taking military. This is where it's going to go. You keep pushing this stuff, and people are going, and then you're going to get reined back in. So I'm saying, every action equal and opposite reaction. Isaac Newton, right? Political physics, if you will. But it's not just Democrats, dude. I mean, if further 70%, 70-30 issues, those are not winning issues politically. You're not going to win those issues. And the more you push into that, you got to persuade people. And that case isn't being made. Oh, they're protesting. There's no protesters in any other country. There's no protesters in Ukraine, Gaza, China, Africa, Mexico. There's no protesters anywhere else. Come on, there are protesters in other places. I know there's protesters in Mexico. No protesters in Canada. I mean, come on. Listen, not a fan of the Iranian regime. Definitely pro-Iranian people and everything like that. So, and Patrick Bet-David, I think spoke very well to that. Has experience. Lisa Daftarians, I have her on the show a long time ago. She's an expert in this stuff and stuff. I'm not an expert. I'm not saying I'm an expert. But like going back to this, 70% of voters, 80% of independents, and 80% issues for independents. Even higher than Democrats. 79% of Democrats were against it. 80% of independents were against it. 53% of Republicans were against it, bro. Come on, bro. And that was framed if the protesters are killed while demonstrating. So it's just not there, bro. 70 to 24 wants Congress, to president to go to Congress first. So, and look, that's where we're at. So we have to deal with that kind of reality, in my opinion. So anyway, that's what I have to say tonight. I think cooler heads are going to prevail. I think overall the direction and arc is very, very good. I think we continue the conversation. I want to try something real quick. I'm going to make a move on the fly here. I don't think it's going to be great, but I just want to see what it looks like real quick. Just for kicks. Yeah, I don't know if I love that. Maybe there, I don't know. Just try some different. I'm going to have to tune this a little bit, but we're getting better. We're getting better. So look, thanks for watching. I think we have a ways to go. I think we're thinking about some stuff. I think we have a ways to go. But I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out together. We're going to figure it out together, peeps. And again, peace, love, prosperity for everyone. Love everybody. Just think about what I said. Open source versus closed source. How do we work together with everybody? Free speech. Everything that makes America great. Why is America so great? It's because of the principles that we have. We have to stay with those principles. We don't get away from those principles. Treat everybody with respect. Peace, love, opportunity. We're all humans, dude. I believe what Raven said. JD Vance has had good comments on this. I've had good comments on this. You know, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, step by step. Anyway, I will respond to your comments online. I hope this was great. Also, we dropped a new episode of another project I'm involved in. Some stuff that I think is pretty good, so just check those out. Check out my page. You can go see me on Twitter, X rather. What's my handle over there on X? At John D. Villarreal. Also, same thing on LinkedIn, on Facebook, something like that. So, and of course my YouTube, John D. Villarreal Digital Venture. So I hope this was helpful to people out there, and I hope that we have. And as much as I respect the entertainment game out there and the pockets out there, like sometimes on the important issues, I mean, we need more. And again, I'm not casting any aspersions or punking anyone out, but we need more light than heat. And I think that let's find a way to solve problems, you know, together out there. But I also think it's okay to have some fun. And sometimes humor is the best. You know, a lot of comedians also speak truth to power, if you will. And, you know, I think that it's welcome the discussion. Let's not try to squelch people and get people any side get offended. It's that the outrage stuff or the rage bait stuff. You know, let's try to be productive. I'm trying to be productive. I try to be a little bit productive. I hope that was helpful. I hope that put some perspective in it for the little thing tonight. And I look forward to listening to everyone else out there and continuing this conversation. And I am optimistic. I think we're going to get there, and I think it's going to be okay. So. That's my thoughts for tonight. My name is John D. Villarreal. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. And again, all my disclaimers will apply. I'll say it one more time. Knowledge ain't facts, not casting aspersions. If I made any mistakes, and I probably did, I do apologize. I did the best that I can. I'm coming from a good place. I love everybody. Peace, love, freedom, opportunity, equality for everyone. And let's find a way to collaborate and peace and prosperity for everyone and win together. So that's what I'd say.